Thank you very much. So everyone's heard of the saying, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And that can be a hard thing to do. And in this talk, I want to explore the idea, really a sort of way of thinking, an entrepreneurial mindset that helps us make a positive from a negative. So a popular example of this is the creation of the Post-it note. You've probably all heard the story that the company was trying to make a really strong glue that they could use to build aeroplanes and keep them together. Fortunately, the glue turned out to be rubbish. It was really weak, it could not hold a plane together. And for what could have been seen as a huge waste of time and resources for the company, they actually ended up making a fortune because this glue could be used to put notes on things and you can peel them off and it didn't leave a mark. And they've now made an absolute fortune selling Post-it notes all over the world. So in the scheme of things, yeah, the glue didn't work out the way the company wanted, not the end of the world. But chances are, at some point in people's lives, you will face a massive trauma, a major disappointment, or be in the face of adversity. And I want to delve deeper into how we can use those difficult experiences and really make a change, do something different, and really do something positive from that. So I'm going to be talking about effectuation. And this is something that encourages the belief that everybody can start a business. Everybody has the power to do that. You don't need a university degree, you don't need lots of money, and you don't need to know all the right people. So effectuation isn't new. And it was talked about by Sarasvathy in 2009, and she explained that there are two ways that you can start a business. And the first one is a causal approach. And so this is more of an old-fashioned approach, I think, where you would start with a specific predefined goal, and then you'd assemble all the means that you need to make that goal happen. And Sarasvathy came up with an example that if a chef had the goal of making a specific dish, then they would make a list of all the ingredients they need, go and buy them, take them back to his well-equipped kitchen, and make the dish. Or a business example would be the chef wanted to have the best Indian restaurant in New York, and that was the goal. So they would need to get the funding together, do a bit of market research, pick the location, hire all the staff, get the equipment, and then hopefully that would mean that they would reach the goal. So it's a very linear, straightforward process. And then effectuation is totally different, kind of flips it on its head. So it's really made up of three things. So who you are, what you know, and who you know. So an entrepreneur would start the process with the means that they've got at their disposal, and they would then imagine all the different end scenarios that could come out of it. So to go back to the example of the chef, it would be a chef going to a stranger's kitchen, having a look through the cupboards, seeing what was there, and creating a dish from there. Or to go back to the business example, it would be a chef that knows that they're really good at cooking, so they could start by cooking dishes for their friends, their families, and their neighbors, and they might find that their neighbors really like certain dishes, so they might think they could start bottling these sauces so that they can go and recreate the dishes. It might take off really well. They might even be able to sell them and make some money. So they might think, oh, I'll take my sauces to a shop, see if they want to sell them in the shop. I can make a little bit more money. And then think, oh, I've got a good track record. I'll take it to a big retailer and see if they want to sell it in their stores across the world. So I'm going to show you a video that's a really good example of this.
My name is Kirit Patak. When my parents arrived from India, they started making their own authentic dishes. They had their own special paste recipes which made it easy for everyone to make delicious curries. You wouldn't believe how popular we became. Our neighbors couldn't get enough of our cooking. After a while, our little kitchen grew into a big business. And I grew up to be chairman. Never did learn to play the guitar though. Buttocks, why Britain loves curry.
Okay, so I think that kind of says nicely the kind of process that you can go on and where it can end up. But that was maybe one outcome of what could have been a bazillion different ways it could have gone. And effectuation is something that I'm really passionate about. It's a way that anybody can make a difference, solve a problem, and make a change. You don't need all the resources in the world, and you don't need a big pile of cash. And now I want to show you what some of my fellow startup businesses are doing, and how they've all recognized the problem and have done something about it. So this is Revive. They're 3 friends, and they recognized how much waste came from people drinking coffee. In the UK, 17 million cups of coffee are sold every day. So in a year, that works up to be 500,000 tons of grounds that go to waste, go to landfill, or incinerated every year. So they started by collecting these grounds of waste from local coffee shops. They would put it through a totally organic process, and then that would create an organic fertilizer that they could sell at farmers markets, which is pretty cool. And it started out as a really kind of small operation. They were doing what they can with what they had at their disposal. And the effectual process kind of grows from there as they learn more about the grains and what they could do with it. They've now started developing high-value bio-oils so that they can solve the problem on a bigger level, and they're now doing their bit to make a circular economy. And next is Victoria Hamilton. So Vicky, her dad's a joiner, and he came home complaining of his knees really, really hurting. And she was a product design student, so for her final year project, she thought, well, I'll make better knee pads than what's out there already to help my dad with his knees. And the project went really well, so well that she was offered a fantastic graduate job, which left Vicky with the decision: does she take the traditional route and go down the graduate job and then get a great career at the end of it? Or does she take a gamble and take a risk on herself and her knee pad design? Well, she did. She took the gamble, and now 3 years later, Vicky's launched her knee pads in Las Vegas. She's got a patented spring technology that proves that her knee pads help so much more than the competition. And she's in major talks with with distributors about licenses to get her knee pads sold all over the world and help joiners and tradesmen all over the world. And finally, this is Jeremy and Stephen there, and they started out as 2 architecture students. They went over on a trip as part of their course to Africa, experienced firsthand the difficulties and the problems that these people faced every day. And when they were there, they came up with loads of different ideas that they could have to solve all these problems. Came back and kind of totally shifted focus from architecture. They set up a business called Power Life, and they sell portable smartphone chargers, but for every one they sell, they will donate a solar paneled light to a child in Africa, which means they can study even in the dark. They've now sold over 400 lights, donated over 400 lights to children, and they're going really strong. But with all of these stories, they don't stop with the effectual process. They will continue to grow and do different things. But it just shows you where things can take you if you do just kind of see what happens and use what you've got at the time. So what they all had in common was that they saw a problem and they kind of made lemonade from lemons. They didn't have to spend a lot of money, and actually there's so much help available from the government and different organizations to help startup entrepreneurs. So to go back to effectuation and how it is who you are, what you know, and who you know, this is a specific set of resources that's unique to everybody. No 2 peoples are the same. And do you remember Liam Neeson in the film Taken? How he had a particular set of skills and he was really effective? Well, we're not all Liam Neeson from Taken, but we do all have a unique set of resources and skills. That means we're all capable of doing something that others can't, and we can use this, everyone, to do something different and make a difference. So to give you a little bit of background on myself, Gavin kind of covered it a little bit. 2 years ago, A girl was raped in the complex of flats where I live, in the bin shed there. She was shouting and screaming, and she heard people walking past, and nobody stopped to help. I just thought that was awful. Nobody stopped to help. So I had an idea. We should all have some kind of safety device on us all the time, that we know if we activate it, we will get a response. And so that was the day I started Pick Protection. And now I've raised investment, fully developed a product that I'm really proud of. And when I started, I didn't know the first thing about business in practice. I'd studied it at uni, but no idea whatsoever. Didn't have any money to put into it. But I think having an effectual mindset really, really helped. Didn't say no to anything, looked at all the opportunities that arose, and kind of just saw where it took me. And the start of Pick Protection, I thought, right, we can make a personal attack alarm that when you activate it, will send the police to your exact location, will send a text to your predetermined phone contacts, letting them know where you are, record all the dialogue so we can get the conviction in court. Perfect for the student market, so we can help young adults feel safe. And actually, through the effectual process, I've realized there's a much bigger market out there, and that's companies with a duty of care to their at-risk and the lone workers. This is a huge market, and it's something that will really help Pick Protection to scale quickly and help infinitely more people. But 2 years ago, I would have never been able to tell you who a lone worker would be, what they would look like, and it's just been that process, and I think hopefully in the next 2 years, my business will look completely different again. And so, to finish off my talk, somebody told me that immediately after a presentation finishes, the audience will only remember 50% of it, and then the next day, they'll only remember 25% of it, and then sadly a week later, they might remember 10% of it. So the 10% that I would love you to take away is that by using who you are, what you know, and who you know, everybody has got the ability to do something different, make a positive from maybe a negative, and change, make a change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Fantastic.